What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, Michelle, and Lori, and we are discussing the third episode of the second season of House of the Dragon. And first thing, did you guys see the new additions to the tapestry at the beginning of the episode? They updated it. Y'all are like, really? They added
I did after the fact,
Yeah.
not during.
Yeah.
I saw it during
After the fact.
because it was very the thing that stood out to me was the image of Prince Jaehaerys with the jagged line going across his neck, and then the image after that was the hanging rat catchers.
The
So I was
rat
like,
catchers.
oh,
Yeah.
they're updating it with every episode. So now I feel like I need to go back to the first two and see what's changed, if anything's changed.
I don't know if they have.
You don't think so?
I don't know if they have every episode now because the what do we call it? The shows that we watch after it airs, they don't mention it. Today or the recent one was the first time they mentioned it.
Right.
Oh, and you know what? I didn't even watch. You talking about the what is it? The inside the episode that they do at the end?
Oh no, not that. It was some YouTubers.
Oh, okay,
some
okay.
Other podcaster.
Oh, okay. So
we shall remain nameless.
Okay. No, I just like I said, I don't listen or watch anything until we've discussed it. So, but I thought that was on the episode Insider, and I was like, I don't think they mentioned that, but yeah. So they added Prince Jaehaerys, they added the hanging rat catchers, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe they may have added images from the Battle of the Burning Mill, but I'm not sure because I was like, those images don't look familiar, but they may have been added. I'm gonna have to go back and just kind of deconstruct it. But okay, let's talk about this battle at the beginning of the episode. The Brackens and the Black Wolves.
You mean the disagreement?
Did you see how many people were dead on that field? That was a battle, and even the Greens,
everybody.
even the Greens called it a battle. Aegon says that was the start of war. So yeah, I think that was a little bit more than a disagreement, or it may have started out as a disagreement. I think it escalated just a little bit.
Well, right, it did. They've been trying to get into a fight for a long time now, and this wasn't a reason to actually fight for real.
They finally got a reason
to go into battle with each other. Yeah. This wasn't the battle for the crown. This was a battle between two groups.
Yeah, right. They finally had an excuse to go all out.
They didn't care about the crown.
No.
No.
Now, question: these weren't the same. What were these the same two houses that went before King Viserys in the first season, where the little boy killed the older guy? Okay, that's what I thought, because I was like, that sounds really familiar.
That was I can't remember. Was the boy a Bracken?
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember, but yeah, he asked, he wanted to marry her, and she rejected him, and that's probably why they're on the side of the whatchamacallits.
Right, but was that kid, or I guess he was a kid. He looks young.
It was a different kid. It was a different kid.
Different kid. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I was like, that would be kind of weird if it was the same one. But okay, so these houses have apparently been at each other for ever, to the point where later
it's
on
like the Hatfields and
episode,
McCoys.
Okay, yeah,
it is. I don't even know if the Hatfields and McCoys even know why they're still fighting.
Well, I mean, according to Sir Simon Strong, who we see at Harrenhal later on, they don't even know. He was when Prince Daemon asked him, or excuse me, when His Grace asked him, why have they been fighting? He was like, the answer to that has been lost to time. Kind of similar to what Rhaenys is telling Rhaenyra about this war, this upcoming war that they're about to have. Like, she was like, sooner or later, they're going to be fighting and don't even remember what started it. And Rhaenyra's like, they usurped my throne. She was like, yeah, that's one reason. Or it could be, Prince Jaehaerys being murdered. Or it could be Aemon murdering Luke. Or it could be Luke taking Aemon's eye out. Like, how far back do you want to go to the different grievances within this family? But Rhaenys,
pick one.
what'd you say?
I say pick one. Just pick one.
Right, yeah. Right. But I like that Rhaenys is the voice of reason for Rhaenyra, because when we know Rhaenyra is upset, like Sir Eric just tried to assassinate her, and they're actually having this conversation as they're burying both of the brothers together, which Jaehaerys is not pleased with. But when she says it's Alicent's fault, she was like, she could have stopped them. Just like you had a hand in the child who was murdered in his bed, and you saw Rhaenyra just kind of shake like, oh wait, if I'm gonna blame her for that, then I gotta take the blame. Well, it doesn't matter. They stole my throne. We're going to I was like, listen now, Rhaenys counseling her again throughout this whole episode, just being the voice of reason with a lot of things. She would have made a great queen. I'm not saying Viserys was bad, because apparently, him as the king, he kept peace in the country. Okay, I give him that, but
she would have done a great job too.
Yeah. And I think
Rhaenyra should just make her hand.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
She should be.
She should just make her hand and call it a day.
Does Rhaenyra have
because she's the only one other than no.
She has a hand, does she?
Who's the hand? Not Daemon.
I don't think she has one.
I really don't think she
have
does.
One.
Oh, that's a good suggestion, Anthony.
That would be the person to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
she keeping, not only is she keeping all those dudes in check, she also kind of keeping Daemon in check too.
Listen,
because she ain't scared of him. See, everybody else scared. She ain't scared of him.
She ain't scared. She was like, let me remind y'all that the crown that she wears belonged to my grandfather, and he had the best reign out of everybody, even Aegon the Conqueror. So mind yourself. Rhaenys is not playing with these fools. They were sitting here, oh yeah, well, the danger that's come around, they've already tried to kill you once. Maybe it's time for you to secrete yourself somewhere else and let us do that. She was like, oh, so you can start this war in my name? They were like, it's a good idea. She's like, it's treason. Everybody's like y'all really thought that was gonna fly with her? Y'all really thought that was gonna be okay? Man, let me tell you, I think Rhaenyra needs to get herself a new small council, because these dudes, they ain't it. They are not it. And they're going to do something stupid.
Well, they're the best. Right now, they're what she's got, because everybody else is kind of out in the field. She can't get Cregan on the council. He's got to run things in the north.
Right.
Tully ain't really doing crap in Riverlands. That shit's falling apart. I mean, who
Tully
else
is a flaccid old fool, according to
right. And Lady Erin is not leaving the area at all.
So, I feel like there's a battle of council. Which council is doing it best?
Unfortunately, I have to
say House Black.
The House Green Council, and you're better because they got a garbage ass hand.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Here's the battle. I'm feeling like House Black has a little bit better council than House Green. They fired one of their, greatest assets. So
yeah. But okay, so here's the question I have as far as Sir Criston Cole.
They really need Otto.
Is it normal for someone to serve as hand and as the commander of the King's Guard? Because he still has on his white cloak.
No.
That's the first thing I said. I said, dude, take that armor off.
Right.
Like, I don't know if he can be both.
He can. First of all, what's his name? Sir Gawain.
So Gawain.
He basically said it like, dude, like, how you get this position? So, like, this normally does not happen.
Let me tell you,
you work your way in the ranks. You work your way in the ranks. He skipped over some tracks. Like, he wasn't even a path of his own to work up in the ranks. He skipped over to someone else's profession.
But that's how he got to be Lord
It's
Commander.
like me being a neurosurgeon.
That's how he got to be Lord Commander. He skipped over the tracks too. And then, well, you know,
different.
when you're banging the boss, it's easy to get the position.
And you notice her
He's
brother was giving them looks
to get the position.
Her brother knows too. Like, he's reading the room. But I loved it. He came in there, threw shade openly, and was just like, okay, whatever. I was like, oh, this is so funny. This is going to be so much fun. But okay, I will say this for Sir Criston in this episode. He may not be smart as the Hand, or he may not be as smart as Otto Hightower, but some of what he was saying in that small council meeting was making sense, because he came to the same conclusions that Daemon came to, as far as Harrenhal being the place where they need to secure. He was right about that. And then when they were out in the field, out in the open, you know, Sir Gawain is sitting there trying to be like, I'm going to an inn. Y'all can stay on the floor. Y'all can sleep on the grass. I'm going to an inn. And Sir Criston Cole is like, we're exposed. We need to get hidden. And he literally saves Sir Gawain's life, because he's, again, I'm
going to push back just a little bit. Everybody and their granduncle knows you got to have Harrenhal if you want to control the Riverlands. So that's not a leap of logic there. So, no,
but the fact that he's voicing
for him saying, "Oh, we got to get Harrenhal," everybody, we all know we got to get Harrenhal. That's if you're gonna have a battle or a war in the Riverlands, shit, in most of Westeros, you have to control Harrenhal. Period. Like, everybody knows that. And I think I'll give him a little bit of credit about being out in the open, but it was like, wait a second. He looked up. He realized, oh crap, the other side got dragons. We need to hide.
Well, I'm going to push back on you on that, because he should have knowledge of that, because he's supposed to be good with battle. So that is in his.
I said I'm not gonna give him too much grief for that one, but Harrenhal, everybody knows you got.
Yeah, I got you on that one, because that was something that everyone knows, and Otto probably mentioned in the past, so this is not new. But at least he advised the king to stay put, though.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
I wasn't sure if someone else mentioned it.
Nah,
actually, I think that was Aemond who made that suggestion first.
Yeah.
Oh, well, never mind. I was trying to give it to
Aemond made that suggestion, which I feel like was the reason why Aegon kind of doubled down on wanting to go, because the suggestion was coming from Aemond. And then, you know, because I still feel like Aegon feels like he has to prove something, like he deserves his throne. And something about the way Aemond is saying it to him, it's like he's saying it sincerely, but he's also, I feel like, throwing just a little bit of shade at his brother. And that was the reason why Aegon was like, what did he say? I'm as fearsome as they are. Like, I can do this. I can go out there and I can fight. Yeah, and crickets. Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeah. Like because honestly, who's really going to tell him no?
A termite.
Because all of them are sitting there like, they're all thinking it. I think Aemond is the only person who's going to say it. And then, of course, Lord Larys comes in later, and he kind of maneuvers that to say, oh yeah, there are rumors going around that you're going to go fly out on Dragonback and join whatever battle or whatever it is. But there's also rumors that you were manipulated into saying that so that Queen Alicent can rule in your stead with Prince Aemon. And that's the kind of thing that kind of triggers Aegon. He was like, yeah, no, I think I'm going to stay here because he doesn't want anybody ruling in his stead. But I mean, dude, you didn't want it in the first place. Anyway,
I think he's gotten in his mind. It's not as difficult as he thought it would be. It's not as challenging as he thought it would.
Losing his son to beheading doesn't make it challenging.
No, well, that wasn't part of ruling. That was something that happened because of who he was, not something he had to do duty-wise. Like he hasn't been faced with making decisions that are terribly difficult. Jaehaerys being killed wasn't a decision that he made or anything he had any input in.
Yeah,
that was something that just happened.
Beef between family members. So
yeah. Okay. The other thing I do want to talk about.
I'm not saying he's going to be the greatest king. I'm just saying at first he didn't want it. He didn't want it because it seemed like there's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of crap you got to do. But since he's been in there, he's been hanging out with his friends, chilling in the throne room, maybe whoring on the side. It hadn't been as bad as he thought it would be.
Okay, so let's talk about these friends.
I know.
Let's talk about these friends who are now members of the King's Guard and showing absolutely no respect to Sir Criston.
None.
When I say I was laughing. I was like, that's what you get, because they sitting there like, we know how you look. We know how you got this position. He comes down, they're just looking at him like, oh, are we supposed to get up? Okay, I guess we're supposed to get up. And the other dude right there at the small council room, he was just sitting there chilling and looking at him like, you going in? Like the level of
now here's my question. Is bad. And here's my question. Like, how were they even before? It looks like they also skipped their journey to what they were supposed to become. It's just that they happen to be his friends, so he used to hang out on the weekends. And now they got this job and they don't get the formality and the rules and the protocol at all. So they're like, well, you ain't even not in charge of us anymore.
They probably
right, but I think they didn't probably respect him beforehand, and now they're like, he's not even our boss anymore.
I think
so. Why he's not our boss?
I feel like maybe they did a little bit, but then after all the stuff happens, and then he's like, they were okay with him doing whatever he was doing with Alicent, because let's just be real, everybody probably knew, for the most part. Like they probably kind of knew. And now he's the hand, and they probably, any respect they had for him, any little bit, it's probably gone now. And you're just banging her so you could move up in the world.
You still not our boss, so who cares?
Well, he technically he is.
He technically, I don't feel that way, and you should take that off.
I would be confused.
Put on your outfit.
I would be confused because you're the hand and the Lord Commander.
Yeah, that ain't working.
I would be confused.
Yeah, I'm
so
like,
I kind of understand.
You coming to work late today,
but I also understand how if they had any respect for him,
it's gone.
It's gone now.
Yeah,
like,
because the respect, and it didn't even have to do with Alicent. I'm gonna go on the other hand of they don't know. You still just like. You became okay. I'm trying to think of job wise how this relates to when you look at someone and you're like,
one.
Well, I don't want to disrespect. Decision. I don't want to disrespect people's jobs.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to be like. Everyone's job is important. Right. Okay, so I'm going to take two jobs. One that I am in. It is like I'm seeing someone who, okay, we're in education, whatnot, and then all of a sudden you become the VP of a hospital. Like, where the hell that come from? I mean, like, just because we educate the people in the hospital don't mean that you should be in charge of the hospital. maybe be in charge of the school, not the hospital.
Because that
Okay.
It's all about
doesn't
who
make
you
Or
know.
we can.
because you can't go from being a parent code to the
or
principal. You get what I'm saying?
you
Well, if your name was Sir Criston Cole, you could.
But that's what the problem is.
That's what the
and no
problem
one
is.
will have respect because they're like, you didn't do the journey, but that isn't even, he didn't even stay in the same genre of his job. Like you just, like all of a sudden tomorrow I'm running a basketball team.
And then even the
I don't know
small
nothing.
council, they don't
Just
have
because I
respect
go
for
to a
him
game
either.
don't mean I can run it.
Yeah, no. And the small
No,
council
they
doesn't have
don't.
respect for him because they're like, yeah, you made these decisions. What was it? He said to King Aegon, he said, I see you've added new members to the King's Guard. And he was like, yes, to replace the ones we recently lost. And one of them, I can't remember who said it, said one of them unnecessarily so. Like, how did you get the job to be the hand when the one thing you did resulted in one of our best soldiers being killed? And then you got the nerve to say,
no. And the kid got killed on your watch too. So it's like you also failing at your job and you get a promotion. And it's different if he went into the council meetings giving like intelligent advice and was like, people were like, man, this knowledge that he is spewing, we're so happy for it. Although, like, man, if you had a different job, this will be great. No.
Okay,
you kept coming up with dumb shit.
I got it. Okay. To go work off of Michelle's example, you have a temp who's in an office, who's pretty, and all the men like her. Not trying to be sexist, but I'm just using an example. And they're in the temp pool and they can type a little bit. They might know how to do filing. And then about 6 months later, they're head of HR. Okay. Because they've worked their way up. The only thing that Sir Criston Cole is, and excuse my language, he a hoe. Okay. He is a stone stepping hoe. That is all he is. Point blank.
Okay.
And everyone knows it.
We got to cut him just a little bit of slack because I don't think he was working towards being hand. I mean, he was as surprised as anybody was. No. I don't think that
those hoes don't. They just wind up in positions, okay? I didn't say he was working toward it. I'm just saying that if you're really good at one particular skill, you can get elevated to other skills you didn't know you possessed. That's all I'm saying.
I'll give him this. You know, at least he went from one administrative position to another.
True. That's true.
I'll give him that.
Yeah, and I will push back with him being a whore because that didn't call into play. He was at the right place at the right time. He fed into someone's anger with more anger, and that helped him.
Yeah,
my only
because if he was like everyone else, he would have been like, "Dude, we got to play the long game here. We will get your revenge. Trust me, but we got to watch what we do." No, he went with, "I got a plan. It's a stupid plan, but I gotta."
Yeah,
I got a plan.
That's true. And the thing is that Aemon, that's his name, right? The king.
Aegon is the king.
Aegon, he hit him at the right moment because Aegon basically didn't want to hear what his grandfather was trying to say. So it could have been Sir Larys, it could have been the maester, it could have been anybody who was in that room would have wound up being the new hand that day.
No, I don't think
place,
so.
Right time.
I don't think so because I think the reason why he specifically gave it to Criston Cole is because Criston was the one who acted. Like after Jaehaerys's murder, everyone else is cautioning, patience. Everyone's cautioning, they're like, okay, we have to think this through. We have to do a good plan. We have to make sure this, and this. And Criston was like, okay, they snuck in here and killed the prince. Okay, so we're about good plan. Look, we got twins. They look just alike. We're gonna send you to go act like your brother and kill the queen, and it'll be fine. I don't think
that's what we're saying.
Given it to anyone else because nobody else, like he probably would have taken it from Otto. But
no, that's what we're saying though. That if anybody had come up with that plan and was in that room, they would have got the job.
Oh, okay. See, y'all didn't say come up with that plan. Y'all said
come up with that stupid,
come
up with that stupid plan and meet him where he was with his grief.
Yeah.
Like whoever was in that room and met him where he was with his grief and was there where Otto came in with a totally different plan. Oh yeah, they would have been hired.
But yeah, I don't think anybody else on that small council, like, I don't know if I would say anybody, well, no, I won't say they were smart. They weren't smart enough to come up with that plan because we all agree that was a dumbass plan.
Right. And we didn't know that the king was that dumb too.
Well,
you know, the other people then they wouldn't have foreseen. They didn't foresee that that's what he needed. You understand what I'm saying? You know, right. Hang all the rat catchers. Well, we didn't, you know. Larys did, but Larys don't want the job. You see what I'm saying?
Larys just got the job that he really wanted. He wanted to
right, that's what I'm saying. He didn't want that job, so he didn't try to interview for that job. He could have, but he decided this is not what I want to do. I want to be in the shadows.
I want to do the sneaky stuff. I want to be the one to go, you know, make sure folks aren't breathing our air and taking care of things. That's the kind of stuff he wants to do. The stuff
because he can't do his stuff if he has a high up job. Everybody will be watching. We talked about this before. So what he's doing, he can put things into play and manipulate all of these people. Boy.
Yep. But I think he may have some competition because now Rhaenyra is going to have a mistress of whispers with
oh yeah,
what's her name? Why can I not think of her name right now?
I can't either, but I know you're talking about.
Anyway, because she was the one who came back and warned them and ended up saving her life. And when she asks her, she was like, so what do you want in exchange for this? A seat at your court? Oh, really? She was like, I want to make sure the Hightowers pay, because if you think about it, Otto Hightower not only put her out of business, he burned her house. He killed her servants because her servants were in the house. They made sure no one got out. She was able to get out because she probably was able to figure out what he was about to do. What was it? She said Otto Hightower didn't like it that I showed some teeth, because she basically took the information she had as far as where Aegon was, and she was able to get something out of it. And Otto was like, oh no, she can outfox me. We don't need her around.
Now I'm going to show her how powerful I am. That's pretty much it.
Right. She said, I know everything about anybody who's anybody in the Red Keep. I know their movements. I know what they do. And we see that proves helpful later on in the episode when Rhaenyra finally decides to read Alicent's letter. And she's like, look, I need to talk to her. We need to figure out a way to make this not go to war, a way to end this peacefully. Now, what she was expecting to get from that conversation, I think, was not what she ended up getting, which was she figured out how this all started when she talks to Alicent. And when they're having that conversation and she's like, did my father not speak of me before he died? And Alicent was saying no. You know Rhaenyra was feeling that, because it's like, this is the man who loved me my whole life. This is the man who defended me against everybody, against the whole realm. And he had nothing for me at his death. And then when Alicent breathes those words and she said, he said about...
Wait 1 second on that before we get to that part. And then that one, when she said, no, he didn't say anything about you. And then at that one moment, she did kind of question, like, maybe he did change his mind.
Yeah.
And maybe
you saw the hurt on her face.
Yeah, it was like real quick, like, oh crap. He didn't care about me, and he did change his mind. He didn't think I can do it.
Right. And then she asked the question. She said, well, what exactly did he say? He said that Aegon was the son that was promised. Her face changed. She was like, what?
Wait, Say that again.
Did he say those exact
Like
words?
Like, what did he say?
And
exactly?
Alicent is like, yeah, why?
Like,
when she said he was talking about Aegon the Conqueror, Alicent was like, the Conqueror? Like, yeah, bitch, you messed up.
And that's why I have the title. We done fucked up.
Yeah.
We fucked this
but
up.
I will say this, and I will say this again. It's partially not Alicent's fault, because the fact that the king only told this information to their heir, how is anybody else supposed to know? What would have happened if Rhaenyra had died? Then they would not even know about this.
Okay.
They wouldn't know anything about this prophecy. They wouldn't know anything about the song.
At the weapon, when it has the writing, when you put it in fire, nothing.
We've had this conversation before. The Maesters have it written down.
Doesn't somebody have it? Yeah, the Maesters or the Sept or whoever Sam Charlie descended from.
Because I'm pretty sure Viserys said it's only passed down from king to heir.
But no, the Maesters
don't have it.
They have it.
No one's going to the library to read about it. Okay.
How do you think? Rhaegar got it? Rhaegar got it from researching in the library.
They have it
to research. He had to research.
But he got that because the Maesters wrote it down.
Who in that family is going? Alicent is not going to the library. Aemon is not. Aegon is not going to the library.
I'm just saying they don't know, but he had to have heard it. Well, he had a dream, and then he looked it up. But the Maesters had already written it down, because even when Aegon had the vision, he discussed it with the Maesters.
But here's the thing:
I agree with you, but no one is going to that information. No one,
even if the Maesters have it, what fucking good are the Maesters with that kind of information?
Right,
because if you look at Game of Thrones, they could have avoided the whole war, Robert's rebellion, and everything if somebody had said, "Oh, by the way, Rhaegar didn't kidnap Lyanna Stark. They actually ran off together, got married, and she had a baby." Like, there was a Maester who was present for that. He could have avoided all of that shit show in Westeros. If somebody had said, "Oh, by the way," but no, you let this man believe and spread the information all over the country to the point where it was like part of their history that Robert went to war because Rhaegar kidnapped and raped Lyanna Stark and killed her. So the Maesters in this equation, shit.
Lori, are you going to tell him? Lori?
No, you can't.
The Maesters have been manipulating Westeros since day one. The Maesters have spent thousands of years manipulating and controlling everything in Westeros. Like, they are like the Bene Gesserit in Dune. They have their own plans, their own schemes to do and guide the realm in a certain direction.
So you still think they would have said something about the Song of Ice and Fire if Rhaenyra, like,
they would have told the next person in line.
To them, it wouldn't have mattered whether or not the person, as far as they're concerned, it wasn't important that whoever was in charge knew, as long as they made sure that there was someone in charge who would be able to take care of the situation.
But how are they going to do that if they don't even know what the situation is? Like you said, Rhaegar had a dream about it and then had to go research. Who has time for that?
Nobody. But the Masons already know it. Like, they don't have to research it. That's part of their information. That's part of their knowledge base. The only thing that probably wasn't common knowledge was the fact that there was a record that Rhaegar got married to Lyanna, because the Mason wrote it down and no one paid attention to it.
No one. Like, that was buried underneath some other news about somebody going to the bathroom or something.
But trust, I believe that the way the Maesters operate, that they would, if left to the way everything was supposed to work out, they would have manipulated the situation in a way to make it the way it's supposed to be.
And if the Maesters are in Old Town, what happens if Old Town is attacked and all the Maesters are wiped out? What then?
There are Maesters everywhere. The Maesters,
yeah, but
there's a Maester at the wall.
Sharing information with each other. Again, let's go back to Robert's rebellion.
Yeah, but it didn't matter who came out on top of Robert's rebellion. That wasn't anything they were going to be able to stop anyway. That was bound to happen. I know we're going back into Game of Thrones stuff, but the lords had already started turning on the king. They knew he was crazy. They knew they needed to get rid of him. The Maesters knew he needed to be taken down. So everything that was happening was going to happen anyway. Saying anything about Rhaegar marrying Lyanna and Robert didn't have to be, it wasn't going to matter because that's what the majority of the lords wanted anyway. They wanted to get rid of him. That's why Tywin said, you know what? I'm going to go back to Castle Rock and I'm going to act like I'm not going to help. He's calling for Tywin to come back after you fired him, and Tywin ignored him. He ignored him because, yeah, let everyone else take care of it. Then I'll come in and clean up the mess. So, I mean, you have to look at the broader picture. The Maesters are looking at the big picture. The little details, who's in charge, it doesn't matter. We got a Grand Maester right there next to the king on the small council. So it doesn't matter who's the king. It doesn't matter to them. So they didn't have to stop.
I just still think that needs to be, that information should be shared a little bit more widely than it is, because again, then there would have been no room for error for Alicent. Because I don't think.
Well, yes, at the least, I
understand the Maesters are guiding things the way that they want to, but I don't think they want a full out bloody war with dragons that will literally decimate most of the country. I just don't see that being like, what purpose would that serve?
Some of that stuff may not. Again, some of these things can't be avoided. It can't be avoided. Like
this can't be avoided either if you think about it, because they didn't know that Alicent went into a room and heard she's saying that they don't know the conversations people had with the king anyway. And that is all based on this story. Because he could have said, I wanted my son to be king, and they're going with what she said.
But we've had this discussion before. The way that, I mean, even Otto questioned.
Right. And I totally get that, but that doesn't equal that. This goes with the story about Aegon the Conqueror and the Princess Promise. It's not equal. So that's why this is not important.
And even if it's
only important between these two characters because Alicent heard something that was a part of a story and assumed it was talking about her son.
But now, that's what I'm saying. The story should be more. The only issue is lightly told.
No, the story should at least been shared between husband and wife, not everybody, because that brings on a whole different type of drama.
But
the Maesters, what I'm trying to get at is the Maesters don't know that this is happening all because of a misinterpretation and someone didn't share the information correctly.
And also the whole
it's
point,
just about two family feuding over who should be
right. Because whether or not everybody knew about the prophecy, Otto Hightower was going to find a way.
You're right.
To manipulate the situation to get his grandson on the throne.
Well, he would have told Alicent, don't say he said the prince that was promised. Just say my son Aegon. He would have just told her to say that.
And as a fantasy element, talking about prophecies, the importance of the prophecy is in the fact that they only passed it down from king to heir makes it more important than if everybody knew about it. If everybody knew about it, then people can manipulate it, people won't believe it, then it's not important. So when the time comes, no one's prepared for it, the king, because it's just a story at that point. is not a prophecy anymore. It's just a story.
And some people will kill for it too.
Yeah, and I've read stories in, like the Bill Garriott, the prophecies of everything that's going to happen are written down, and you can't even read them until it's time to read them. Like, until the situation is the way it's supposed to be, all of a sudden it's legible and you can read it. So it's like, this is how prophecies work. So this particular prophecy, I think if everybody knew about it, its importance would have been diminished. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, but again, we're gonna go with overall, the Macers would have known about the situation, but it still should have been shared. I understand what Hanako's saying. At least should have been
because
shared.
then now 200 years down the road, when the White Walkers actually show up, people are thinking it's just
right, husband and wife.
How about this? At the end of the day, it didn't even matter. The prophecy wasn't even relevant
to this situation. It was
I'm talking about 200 years later. The prophecy was pointless.
Yeah, it was.
It didn't mean anything.
No, it didn't.
So this is what we can actually
it was
say.
It was really the knife. What is it called?
It's just a Valyrian dagger.
The dagger. Yeah. The dagger is actually what was needed. It's not the story.
You want to know where the real fault lies? You want to know where the real fault lies? Stop naming your damn kids after.
That's true too. That is
names. Junebug, Riri. Bob.
That is true too. So now
because you're talking about Aegon the Conqueror, then you're talking about Aegon Targaryen, this version, and then you also have Aegon Targaryen, Rhaenyra's son. Like, stop giving these children the same damn names. And then maybe when he said Aegon blah blah blah, she would have been like, oh, he's talking about the Conqueror. Let me see what this is. As opposed to, oh, he's talking about my son. Because like I said in the last episode, he could have easily been talking about Rhaenyra's son. Rhaenyra has an Aegon Targaryen. Yeah. That might be the prince that was promised.
Or if you don't want to go with Bob, Junebug, whatever, you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Refer to them as numbers, colors. Beige is over here, purple's over here, but have some delineation of who you're talking about. And that's not just with House of Dragon, that's the entire Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, naming two twins the same name, but changing the spelling, their mama need to have some consultation about why she did that. Okay? You don't do that. They have a naming problem. George R.R. Martin got all these names, this, thou, who, whatever, and he just got like 20 names, and that's what he went with. Okay? I mean, the girls, they all are named Rain this, Rain that. I mean, come on.
It's true. It's a lot.
Yeah. Right.
It's Rhaenys, like his creativity. I needed him to expand a tad.
Exactly.
Because it is hard to keep track. I was listening to the very first episode we did covering House of the Dragon, and we could not get Rhaenys' name right. Like, I think we called her like 5 different names in that one episode, because you got Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, you got Rhaena now, Daemon's daughter, and it's
too much.
Give these kids
I guess that's a family. That's a family name. I guess that was the generation where we used to call women like Michelle May, or Willie May, or Tommy May, or Michael May. Okay, can we not keep the family name and just be unique?
My grandmother's was Aletha May, so yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so let's just not do that.
Right. Because and we have it now where you have this person junior, the third, the fourth.
Right.
But even with that, you find some kind of way to decipher which one is which. You have senior, you have junior, you have.
Yeah. And I see where he was going with it, though, because in kingdoms and monarchies, we are using the same. People are getting mixture of one ancestor, another ancestors, but they at least say, the second, the third, the fourth, the sixth, the eighth.
Yeah,
help us out in that.
Separate them by generations. Like there is another Daenerys in the Targaryen family history, but she's like 100 years, maybe 200 years removed from the Daenerys we know. Put some space in between the names at least.
Help us out.
All of them. That was one of the things, George R. R. Martin was really good at. I don't want to call it satire, but a lot of the failings of the British monarchy, like the naming convention, where they even had monarchs who they didn't go by their given name, they chose a previous name of a monarch.
That's true.
Because I think Queen Victoria was Alexandria, and she didn't want to be that, so she chose Victoria. And I think recently people thought Charles wouldn't do Charles because the first Charles and second Charles had such disastrous reigns that he might not be King Charles III. Like, why would he choose that? But he did. And I read, I can't remember which one of my fantasy books or which fantasy story I read where the monarchs actually change their name when they become the queen or king. They get to choose their name.
Yeah.
So because to them, and I guess even in Game of Thrones, there's always meaning and power in the name. Like the Starks have done that for, hundreds of thousands of years. How many Brandon Starks have there been? Or how many Eddard Starks or Rickon Starks?
Uncle was
they do that. That's just the naming convention. We don't have to like it.
But it's not helping us right now. That's the point.
Yeah.
It's just not helping us right now.
Yeah,
and guess what? It didn't help this situation.
No.
Okay, it started a war. All because of a name.
Can you imagine? But can you imagine Alicent trying to process that information right then when Rhaenyra says he was talking about Aegon the Conqueror was a story he told me when I was a child, and her saying the Conqueror, she's sitting there thinking back like, oh shit, all of this is my fault. Even though, again, it really wasn't, because how was she supposed to know what Viserys meant?
No, it's her fault because she knew that man wanted his daughter to be queen.
I know that part, but I said
I
said partially.
But in her heart, she heard what she heard and ran. Like when she ran with it, she ran with it. She couldn't even doubt it. Because I'd be like, you know what? He's on his dying bed. He's just a little woohoo. He's
literally about to die.
Like he didn't mean, you know what I'm saying? He didn't mean right. So
but now she's got to sit here and think, oh my God, Lucerys is dead because of something I interpreted. Jaehaerys is dead because of something I interpreted. We're about to go to war because she's not going to go and tell them that she was wrong.
Oh, no,
it's
no,
too late.
No.
It's too late for that. And the sad thing is Rhaenyra also understands this at the end. She's like, shit, we really going to have to go to war now.
Yeah, but that is not a good
technicality.
Thing. Yeah, but that's not a good thing.
If Otto wasn't prone to beating his children, he would beat her ass. Because if he found out, I think either that or he'd have a heart attack because what was his goal the entire time? To get his line on the throne. And to
secure peace in the kingdom.
And to secure
peace.
You can't
forget that part because
both.
That is his goal.
Right. But the fact is that because she didn't quite understand what she was being told, he would lose it if he was still the hand. Seriously, he beat her senseless.
First of all, you tell no one. She don't tell even her daddy that this was her mistake. You die with this. Okay?
She's like,
the man on his dying bed was trying to tell you.
You die with this. And if that girl over there say something to anybody else, you call her a liar. I don't know what she's talking about.
The man is literally on his dying bed.
He didn't say the prince that was promised.
Telling you a children's story.
Said,
and you killed
our son.
Some kids killed, and a war started.
You live with that.
Yeah,
that's not good.
You live with it.
Don't think that's not going to cheer her up at night.
It is, but you don't tell another soul about this.
Oh no!
Not only that. So earlier in the episode, when she's having the conversation with Helena, and Helena says, "I forgive you," I think that's what she's forgiving her for. I don't think it was just the whole "you was in the bed" type thing. again,
agree.
Helena sees stuff, and she probably knew that conversation was coming, and she's like, "Oh, this was a mistake. Okay, I forgive you."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, when I went back and rewatched it, I was like,
I think it's even other decisions she's gonna have to make.
Well, yeah, because she's
So
gonna
I
have
didn't
to do
think
a
it
lot
was just
more.
the one incident. I thought it was the future one and some other ones, and she just was like, "I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I forgive you because you about to do some. You did some stuff already, but you about to do some more too."
Yeah, but I mean, just having that on your conscience.
Oh wow!
Like,
but you still die with it though. You don't need to tell anybody.
Oh no. But going back to what Lori said about Otto, notice how we've been giving Otto grief over the last season and few episodes, but there are certain things that we understand about his character, especially after the last episode. And Rhaenys kind of voiced that at the beginning of the episode too, because she told Rhaenyra, she was like, if Otto Hightower was in charge, this would not have happened. Because Otto thought that was a stupid decision for him to send Sir Eric to try to kill Rhaenyra. It's not clean. It's not, it's very it comes off kind of cowardly, and that I don't think Otto would have done. No. And Rhaenys is like, yeah, I think younger heads have prevailed. The younger men are the ones who want the bloodshed.
Yep. And they don't even know why.
Or they won't by the time all this is done. Because once you keep going tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat, it's going to get lost.
It is.
And then let's start out with, okay, let's talk about where some of this really started out. Aegon is a fucking bully to his brother.
Yes, he is. I was about to say that is why we have a war.
His own business ain't bothering nobody, and he has been that way since a child. First, and I had to think about this. Somebody posted a meme about it, and I was like, you know what? You're right, because when they were children, him, Jace, Luke, they all teased him about the fact that he didn't have a dragon, that his dragon wouldn't hatch.
But who started it?
Fine.
So really,
and somebody was like, I really want Aemon to kill his brother. And I'm like, I kind of want that to happen too. I don't know what happens to Aegon. Of course, I know he's probably going to end up dead, but I haven't gotten that far in the book. I don't know how he dies. I don't know by what means. But at this point, I'm kind of sort of team Aemon right now.
I am too.
If it goes to the greens now with him and the blacks, if it's I still can't get down with him like that. But right now, I really want him to whoop his brother's ass. Like, you should have killed him.
Now if we had to pick a character on each side, I'm gonna give it to Aemon because of all the things that he has to deal with. But second, his revenge isn't really revenge on the black. His revenge is really revenge that he wants on his brother and how he's been treated.
And the bullying.
But he has to take it out on the obvious because they joined along.
But they were also younger. So it's
get the original. Get the original who is still doing it.
It's the fact that he's still holding on to those feelings from when they were children.
Right. Now that's another problem. But he's going to therapy for it. So
with a lot of people who are bullied.
It does. It does.
A lot of times the people who are bullied, they actually either grow up and become the bullies, which kind of sort of Aemon has done, or they find a way to get over it. Now, obviously, there's no therapy going on in Westeros because
he is in therapy, but I don't think Aemon is actually bullying anybody. Who is he bullying?
He did bully Luke. Because that whole situation, and I mean, he admitted it in the last episode. He was like, "Yeah, I took it a little too far. I lost my temper."
But they took it far with him too, and he's just giving it back. So why is that?
Now, remember when we watched the banquet scene?
Again, he got a lot of it when he was younger. He's just now able to say it and stand behind it.
No, I'm talking about the banquet scene when
I'm still older, saying it because he can stand behind his words. When he was younger, he couldn't. He had to take it.
But it's different
That's
just standing behind your words, and then even though I know it was an accident,
I'm playing the devil's advocate here with this
I
because
know, but
he
he's
is
still
being
walking around
bullied,
alive.
and now he is fighting back with his words. So why is it that he's
because he
at
cost
that
someone a
thing.
life. He cost
Okay, that's
someone's life.
well,
That's
that
where it
was
crosses the line.
right. But
And
before the dragon fight,
when we went back and watched the episode at the banquet, there was no point in him standing up and being insulting to them at that
it
time.
was
There
because
was
you
no
had to
point.
think about for him, he was bullied this whole entire time. He lost an eye, which was still kind of his fault though, but he didn't see that it was his fault.
But
it was,
they were at that table trying to come to a peaceful term.
You are not supposed to be the
I'm
person
going to be on the
after
other
you
side of the
being
debate.
bullied.
But still, they have not been punished for being bullied or taking his eye. So I'm petty. He was being petty at the dinner table. Yes, we're supposed to be singing Kumbaya, we're family. However, I'm going to get my digs in because no one got punished. So that's their punishment to hear me always say, aren't you strong, boys? Did you eat a strong meal today? He gonna throw that in because that's the only way he feel like he got justice. Can y'all not see that? So I think it's equal in the bullying. Now,
but
when you got your dragon involved, that became the issue. But he did not. He felt bad for it.
Well, see, here's the other thing, because you can get your digs in or whatever, but the certain things that he was saying, that could have cost all of them their lives. So I think it takes it to a different level. Them putting the accusations out there.
Yeah, but he only did it around family. No. He didn't go out in public. What public did he do at that dinner table was between family members.
But they had been doing that long before. I mean, even when the whole thing with the eye came up,
I get that. But he was again being bullied, and it was everyone. His mama was doing it too. So that's something totally different. But they did it in private. Corley's brother did that in public. See, there's a difference. Like, I can talk about my family in private, but you don't go out in public and say anything. They never said shit out in public, though. See, there's a difference. If we got family drama, we got family drama in the house and not family drama in public. And see what happened to public drama. No one did that.
Daemon took care of that shit, didn't he?
Right. But I'm just saying that.
Very quickly.
Yeah. But Aemon, I do feel
anyone who says anything is gonna lose their tongue. He lost his tongue.
But see, they ain't cut the children's tongues out because that was the children's tongues didn't get cut out because clearly, again, it was in our group of family members. Mm-hmm. It was in a safe space. However, Aemon should not have been bullied like that in the bedroom, you know. However, I love that scene though, not for the obvious reasons. I just love the acting in that scene because, like we talked about last week, of how he's able to show that he's vulnerable and like he is starving for like love and affection and attention. And you see that when he's curled up with her, but then when he got that bully and he like put his mask on, he got up strong, like he can kick everyone's ass in the room. He didn't look like that curled up in that woman's arms.
No, you did see like a very
physical like, and then like his like he stiffened and like the muscles were tight and everything, and I'm like, okay, still can't be Daemon though.
Punch a couple of people walking out of there, but I mean the person that was making him mad was the king, and of course you can't assault the king. Even though he's your brother, you know what? Shut up.
I have stuff to say, but yeah, he
walked on and carry a big stick.
You know what? We're not.
He's gonna swing his club around and hit some folks in the eye.
I'm not even going there because
however, side note on that is good because we have to see all the time women full frontal and men be like covered up with grapes and stuff. It's about time y'all walk around naked too, because that makes sense in the scene. He wasn't gonna cover up because if he covered up, he shows that he's still vulnerable.
No, he was showing strength.
Yeah, because I can walk around naked like everybody else in this brothel walking around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
Say
some of the discourse online
I'm not shaming them either.
I wasn't shaming
that.
I just wasn't prepared for it, but I'm not shaming.
You said he was going to beat somebody down, and she said,
"No, you said that he was going to punch them."
I didn't say that. She said that.
I was saying he was going to punch.
She said that. I said he had a big enough stick to do that with. Just saying, swinging his club everywhere.
But I mean, Aegon need his ass beat.
You need Mike.
Aegon need his ass beat. That's all I'm gonna
say.
Yeah,
he does. And this showed you, a couple weeks ago you were saying he gonna be a nice king or something.
No, I wasn't saying he was gonna
be. You said he was all right because he was all right with the people.
He's was cruel. Saying without the influence that he grew up around, he might have had a chance. But because Alicent didn't take him in hand enough when he was a child. And then even that's what bothered me, because even at the end, when she's talking to Rhaenyra in the Sept and she's saying there's no way to avoid this, and she was like, and Aemon, you know how Aemon is. And I'm like, Aemon is that way because you didn't do enough as a mother to protect him from the biggest bully he had, which is his brother. And I know that has to do with Aegon being the oldest, Aegon being the heir apparent that they were trying to make. It's like, you gonna tell this person no? And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of the parenting that we have seen, not just in this show, but with the other Game of Thrones show too, because people treat the oldest or the heir apparents like they're untouchable, and they let them get away with shit. Think about Viserys, Daenerys' brother. He was a dick too. Probably because he was raised, thinking, oh, I'm the dragon. I'm the heir. I'm going to take back my throne. And nobody refused him anything. And you saw how much of a dick he was. Same thing with Aegon. And yeah,
it was just horrible. And then I feel bad for the woman. You don't have to say those things about me. I've been here for you.
Yeah, but she, you know what? But I don't think
she get it. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she was offended by it because, one, especially if Aegon has been with her before, she probably also knows what his insecurities are, and she knows he's showing out in front of all these people. Not only that, he was drunk. He obviously can't handle his liquor. But she was probably just like, okay,
I think he's cruel
right now. It's okay.
And first of all, she said it last week, because we're the ones who get injured when y'all want to fight. Y'all are fighting, and I'm the one that got injured and insulted.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
And then that's all we're gonna say about that, because there's some questionable things about their relationship.
About who? Aegon and
Aemon and his lady friend.
What's her name? I think he said Celise or something like that. But okay, we'll leave that for later, because I'm sure that's not going to be the last time that we see that type of or an interaction between them. Do want to talk about this so-called half brother of Viserys and Daemon's?
Oof.
Like, is he really? Is he really? Because you wouldn't just walk around talking about this.
I believe him.
Like, I feel like you're trying to get free drinks.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he actually was.
That's true too.
Because the way that the whole Game of Thrones thing is, because see, think about it. We've all seen Game of Thrones. Saying that you're somebody's bastard isn't the healthiest thing to do. Okay? So if he is, he must have some way to prove it. Because
you're at a table and obviously you're talking around the obvious stuff, and your friends are talking around it, and the Dornishman keeps saying the obvious stuff, and they would you shut the fuck up?
Right.
Well, the biggest thing is, and I'm not going to say when it happens, because I'm just going to say this. It's generally known in some of the places of the books that at one point in time, they actively search out bastards because they get to the point where they need dragon riders. So at one point, they will take anyone, a quarter, a half cousin, anybody who could ride a dragon, they literally take on. So, like I said, it is probably, if he says he is, they put him on a dragon. If he can fly, they're good.
Yeah. And he even mentions being a dragon seed in that conversation. He's like, yeah, people will kill me for that. And the dude is like, are you really da-da-da? And then, okay, he's sitting there talking, and of course he says that he is the uncle of the true queen, Rhaenyra Targaryen. Okay, so we already know where his allegiance lies. And then he makes the when they were talking, teasing him about his hair color, because again, with him and with Hugh the Hammer from last week, I didn't look at them and think Targaryen hair, because their hair is of a different hue than the other Targaryens we see. So I'm literally thinking these are gray-haired guys, like older guys. But he mentions it, and he was like, you know who else doesn't have the Targaryen hair? The rightful heir to the Iron Throne, my nephew, Viserys. And I was like, and that's when everything got quiet, because Aegon and his party walked in. I was like, and then of course he turned around. He was like, "Oh, hail King Aegon." I was like, dude, you are walking a slippery slope, because you talking way too loud in this tavern. And your companion is talking way too loud. You're saying you're the son of King Jaehaerys? They're looking like, shh, will you hush? Like, there are people around who can hear this.
I almost feel like the point is that there might be a lot more bastards walking around than people are really aware of.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
You know.
Yeah, and I mean,
because we know King Aegon has at least one.
Yeah, that's true.
That
and what was the one that they killed or died? King Robert. Remember the whole thing with his son and all of that. And remember Cersei went through. I think they said in the book that she had 22 of his bastard children killed or something like that.
Yeah, it was something like that.
It was a huge number. So yeah, I would not be surprised.
And actually, I don't think, if I remember correctly, it wasn't Cersei that had them killed. It was Joffrey that had them killed.
Was it Joffrey?
Because he asked her, he was like, does my father have other children out there? And he was like, how many? And they didn't show her responding, but the next scene was the soldiers going through and killing all of that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
I don't know if I don't know if that's a change from the book to the show, but yeah.
I think
Gedry was it Gedry got snuck out.
Yes, with the helm, the wolf, the helmet thing. But see, I'm trying. I have to go back because it's been ages since I've read the book. But I think in the book, I think the number was either 21 or 22. It was a high number.
Yeah, so, for Robert, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So I think that for them to say that, that the king had just one bastard son, it had to be way more than that. I mean, not 20, 21, but maybe 8, maybe 9. I mean, it could be. But see, the problem is that as you get on with war and as higher royals die, you need people to fill the ranks. If your cousin, nephew, second cousin, your parents grew up together and y'all close, they call you a play cousin. As long as you can ride a dragon, it doesn't matter if you're illegitimate or not, because they get so desperate for people that they literally take anybody, including some people that really, and I'm saying this and I mean this, a few of them that they get later on should have went to the wall. Okay, just on personality alone. Okay, like I said, when I say they take anybody, they take anybody.
Yeah, because at this point, I mean, if you really need riders for the dragons, which we see there are several dragons that, I mean, we've known since the first season, there are a few dragons that don't have riders, and we saw Sea Smoke in this particular episode, which was Laenor's dragon, being restless, don't have a rider. But I guess in a sense, it really doesn't matter how much Targaryen blood you have, because if you getting on a dragon and you going to war, chances are you're gonna die anyway. They're not gonna care, you know. But keeping on track with the dragon riders and everything, I still feel so bad for Rhaenyra, because here she is, a grown girl now. Her dragon egg never hatched. She doesn't have a dragon, and because of that, her duty is to be sent away with Joffrey and Aegon and Viserys, the younger ones, to basically be substitute mama for them and keep them safe while everything is going on, because Rhaenyra feels for their safety. I felt so bad for that girl. Goes dragon, smoke, or let her try. But I did find it interesting that we were sending them with some dragon eggs, and a few of those dragon eggs looked a little familiar. Because Syrax is the dragon who birthed the eggs that eventually became Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion. Like, oh, nice little Easter egg or dragon egg, if you want to call it that.
Those eggs they go over to Essos and never come back until they're hatched.
Yeah, or in Pentos, because I think that's what she told. Yeah, that's what she told her to take them. But so here's my question, because I'm still not completely familiar with the process for the dragon riders and the dragons. So just like when Aemon went and took Vhagar, just kind of approached Vhagar, even though that was Laena's dragon. I would have thought back then that, okay, if he was bonded to Laena and Laena died, then I would have thought that he would have bonded to one of Laena's children instead of Aemon, or she. I'm sorry. I think Vhagar is a girl dragon. So could Baela not try to bond with one of the other dragons that are there, or like, how does that work?
After they're hatched, like when they're adult dragons or older dragons, the dragon has to choose to be bonded with the person.
Okay. So it's possible she's tried and it just didn't take.
Either that, or she may not have tried. We don't know what she's done or what they've tried to do. I can't imagine them not having tried. You know
Especially because that was like something that she was so fervent about when she was a kid. Because she was really trying to get that dragon egg to hatch, and it just wasn't going to hatch.
Yeah, because I think the Jaehaerys's dragon Vermithor is not letting anyone do anything with him. So
except sing him a song.
Right. So yeah, I'm assuming she has tried, and the dragon keepers have tried, and it just hasn't worked out for
her. Okay.
Because ultimately the dragons, if they're not hatchlings and they didn't hatch with you in your crib, they have to decide. They have to choose.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about
not
this.
All Targaryens are dragon riders, right? Not all of them.
Not all of them become.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know that much about it.
Okay.
I think they all have the potential to be dragon riders, but again, the dragon has to choose.
Okay.
If they're adult dragons.
And it also has to do with their temperament, because say their dragon egg does hatch. If the dragon senses that there's something that isn't right about them, whether their temperament or how they would be a dragon rider, the dragons can choose to shun or not bond, and they can bond with somebody else. they're all born dragon riders. It's whether or not their personality fits. The other problem is that they're all dragon riders because they're all Targaryens, but the dragons have this innate ability to sense which one of them should never be a dragon rider, because some of them are just born where you shouldn't even have them anywhere near the X. So yeah, it's all the dragons' choice, but they're all born with the ability to ride dragons.
Oh, okay.
Because even when Balerion died, Viserys chose not to ever ride another dragon. Like he didn't try or whatever.
Okay.
So I don't even know what that was about, but he was king and maybe he didn't want to ride a dragon anymore.
I mean, he could have already.
Once you ride Balerion, I mean, what you gonna do?
Right. But he could have also at that point been like starting to, you know, whatever was going on with him physically could have also started. He'd been like, you know what, I'm a little too old for this. I'm not gonna do this. But yeah, okay. Hold on.
So to answer your question, I'm sure she tried, and it just hasn't worked out for her, which is probably why it's such a painful thing for her.
Yeah. I can imagine so. I don't feel good about it.
I have a feeling he's gonna go looking for one and he's gonna find it.
And at this point, we don't need to be looking for a fight. I kind of think we even.
Yeah, he's gonna go looking for a fight.
Honestly.
Almost kind of like how Baela looked like she was gonna try to end the shit on her own.
She was about to burn her some ants.
And she said, down. How close were you? It's enough.
She was like,
I can see.
She said, maybe from a distance, not such a great distance, Your Grace. She said, you told me not to engage, and I didn't, kind of. Yeah, and she was just looking like, okay, whatever. She was like, I was going to make sure. I didn't want to come back with any false information.
But she is Daemon's.
If she could have burned him, she would have.
She is Daemon's daughter. Don't forget that.
Yeah. And I was like, she had to hold herself back, because when Moondancer was flying around the forest, I'm like, well, generally what area they're in. You could just end it and be done with it. But of course, you don't want to make the same kind of decisions that your father made that led y'all to this point. So I can understand why she didn't do anything, because again, that's not her. Kind of like with Rhaenys, that's not her call to make. She had a specific order that she was supposed to follow, and she followed it. But she let them folks know. She was like, I just want y'all to know I'm here, and I'm going to let y'all know how close I can get, because I really thought Sir Criston and Sir Gawain were about to be barbecue.
They thought so too.
She got mighty close.
Yeah.
I mean,
she was trained really well, though. Like, one thing, she stayed right under the sun where they really couldn't see. Criston got look. He was like, he kind of see something, and then that dragon's fast. Those dragons are fast.
Yes, and that dragon also probably felt her urgency, like, oh, we need to see who this is and what they're doing. Because at first, when she was looking down, it's like, how does she even know they're there? And then when I watched it the second time, you could see a little bit of glint off of the armor, and I was like, oh, that's how she found them. Because from where she was in the sky, you can't really see down there, especially if it's only like 4 or 5 or 6 riders. But I saw that little glint, and that's when she was like, I said, oh, she about to go get him. She about to go get him. But, I mean, at least now Rhaenyra knows, like, okay, yeah, so they are on the move. They're about to start doing this. And what was it that they said? They said, Prince Daemon in Harrenhal, he should be the one to worry, because of course they're heading that way. I was like, I don't know if I would be worried for Daemon, but
they don't have no clue, because I don't even think they're pulling. We haven't seen the army, but I don't think they got scorpions with them. That you roll up on Harrenhal, it don't matter if he has 5,000 men, 10,000 men, 10 men.
They all gonna be barbecue. They're gonna look like all those men at the burning mill. They're just gonna be dead.
Can I insert one last point?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm being funny, but I'm also not being funny. They have how many millions of dollars on this show, and they can't get either one of those baby girls a silk press? That's all I want to say.
We're not about to have this weird conversation.
I know.
I'm not about to do it. Michelle has been
I'm
good.
not,
She hasn't said anything about the wigs.
Wrong show. I'm good with everybody's hair pieces on this show.
We're not.
I said I was done. But I had to get it.
I'm good.
No, we're not going to talk about the wigs.
Can we circle back to Corliss? Because you brought up the wigs and it reminded me. I want to say something about Corliss.
Everyone was good.
Okay.
The conversation between him and Rhaenys, right?
Corliss?
Yes.
Yeah, Corliss.
Okay.
Rhaenys.
And Rhaenys. And it sounded like to me, I'm kind of reading between the lines. She basically, because the last time he went off half-cocked, he was gone for 6 years and came back half dead.
Correct.
So it sounded like she was basically saying, you need to stay your ass here this time.
Correct.
And she was trying to say, Rhaenyra kind of needs you on her council as well.
I feel like that's what she was saying.
Check.
Like she was basically, we need you here.
Yeah.
She needs your strength to help her with.
He's a free bird. He
right.
can.
But also, I think she was also saying you need to have someone other than a 6-year-old as your heir.
Correct.
That was also, she was laying a lot of stuff on him because you need to name Lena as your heir, right? Baela as your heir.
Not Baela. No, it was Rhaenyra.
I keep saying Lena. Rhaenyra. And he's like, or Joffrey, but Joffrey's like 6. You know, he's got, and I think it almost feels like he's trying to avoid having to deal with this stuff. And that bothers me a little bit. Because in the beginning, he was much more direct, he was much more involved, and now he's like, I'd rather be out in the ocean. That didn't seem like him in the beginning.
It wasn't. He changed. Near death can do that for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you are faced with your own mortality, it does change you. It makes you think things a little bit differently. And with her telling him, she was like, look, we are close to war. It's like, I feel like he knows this, but also he just finished a little war of his own in the Stepstones. So maybe, I don't know if I want to say he's not taking it as seriously, but
I think he is, but I think he'd rather die doing something he loves.
Yeah.
And not die on court. I think he would rather die.
What did he say? He was like, I would rather be dead than be, I think he used the word banished, but she's not being banished. She is being sent away to protect the children and the dragons. And that is an important job, because if something happens to those kids or something happens to those dragons, I mean, we already know what happens to the dragons, like towards Daenerys's time, like the dragons have been extinct, and those eggs, 3 of those eggs are the ones that kind of hatch and kind of bring the dragons back. But yeah, he was like, I'd rather die than have to be playing nursemaid to the babes. And I was just like, stop talking about that girl like that. Like, she can't help it that her dragon didn't hatch. I mean, what else is she gonna sit there and do?
The other side of the coin could simply be that maybe because, like Michelle said, when you come to a near-death experience, it does change you, but you have to think about a few things too. He married somebody who should have been queen. They spent all this time and money. His son is dead, quote unquote. His daughter is definitely dead. They've got the grandbabies. He doesn't have an heir. We've got this Aaron and his brother who might potentially be his bastards. You have his ship. He's the richest guy in the area. But what happened? His brother couldn't keep his mouth shut. First of all, everybody knows those weren't his kids. They just knew that. But his brother couldn't keep his mouth shut. Now, what happens when you don't keep your mouth shut? You get killed. But what happens after that? If you're rich, if you're powerful, you start losing contracts. You start losing favor. You start losing clients. You start all of a sudden, that invitation to the big ball suddenly comes a couple of months later than it should have been. You start losing your prestige and you start losing your importance. And maybe he realizes that, and I'm going to use an old African proverb to describe his position. My name is Bennett and I'm not in it. That's where he is at.
But that's not.
I think that's it.
And I get it, but I'm kind of with Anthony on this one. It doesn't feel like Corlys because unfortunately he can't keep his nose out of it. Your wife is directly involved. Your grandchildren are directly involved. Those of your blood and those who are not. Those are still your grandchildren. You still claim them as your grandchildren. They are known as your grandchildren. You have way too many hands in this pot for you to be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go eat somewhere. No, you need to protect what's your own. And for him to not name Rhaenyra as his heir, it seems a bit weird to me because like you said, Lori, you are married to someone who would have been queen. You are now supporting the queen, the current queen. So it's not like you are against this idea of women being heirs or women being in charge. So for him to say that about Rhaenyra as the Lord of Tides, she's never been on the scene block. Neither was Lucerys, but he was your heir. You know, it seems very out of character for him.
I do believe, and you've got a very good point. I do believe that you're right, but I think that for the right now, he wants to sort of sit back right now because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of chaos. And until it starts and the war actually starts, maybe he just wants to watch a little bit. Yes, his wife's involved. She's deeply involved. But as far as he's concerned, he just has some ships. Yes, they have all the fail, but maybe he wants to sort of look and see what the bigger picture is going to be because he can't afford to. Okay, his wife can do whatever she wants. But when it comes to his side of the family and their money and their ships, if he's on the wrong side, they will quickly become broke. And that is the worst thing that can happen because now the money that Rhaenyra's side would need is now basically gone. I think he's looking at it as a businessman versus a pirate versus a devoted husband, father, grandfather. I think he's really just like, I'm just going to stay over here. Maybe he's planning something. Maybe he's acting this way because he's got something else going on, but he doesn't want to share it because if he shares it too soon, it could blow up in his face. Because look, he didn't become who he is by being Daemon Targaryen and being rash. He became the way he did by being bold, by being progressive, but also being quiet and sitting back and watching and being calculating. Because remember, he's a pirate.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like at this point in the game, especially, you've had two major deaths on both sides.
Right.
He's not really in a position to where he can just sit. Like, you can't sit back and just say, oh, let me see which way the wind turns. He doesn't have that time. He does, like, there's no time for that.
But he did it before.
And how did that turn out for him?
I know, but still, that's his kind of his personality. So his wife is a go-getter. He's a go-getter, but he's going to go into in the area that he feels comfortable with and what he's happy with. and that is being a pirate.
Yeah.
I mean, not really a pirate, but that's that's what brings him joy, but that's his escape too.
Yeah.
So when his 2 kids pass away, yeah, he has grandkids. Yes, this determines our future or whatnot. And however, this is what I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta be happy. Because what's the point?
He's gonna die.
I hate to say it, if that's
but guess what? He's gonna die doing something that he cares about, and not doing something because someone told him to do it.
Because I think he would be invaluable to Rhaenyra on her Black Council. I think his voice would carry a lot of weight for her.
Yeah, it would,
and
but
he would be able to give her a lot of good counsel.
But what does that do for him?
It doesn't do anything for him.
Okay.
It keeps his family safe.
It keeps his family. It ensures
he knows that's going to happen because of who his wife is.
Right.
That's why he had no problem being gone, because she really took care of everything.
Yeah, but here she is telling him, basically saying, "We need you."
She don't need him. He knows that.
No, he didn't say I need. She didn't say I need you. She said we. She said
I need it. He needs to be helping out. All hands on deck. However, that's not. He's never. Y'all give me some evidence that he has done that in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Fish can't change the scales. So.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move to Daemon and Harrenhal, because I will say that whole sequence, it was serious, but it was funny as well, because Daemon is coming to Harrenhal like ready to fight. And the steward of Harrenhal right now, I think his name is Simon Strong. He was the uncle of Lionel Strong, which was he was Harwin and Larys's father. So this is the uncle. He's the steward, even though Lord Larys is the Lord of Harrenhal. But when Daemon comes into the room where they're sitting, and he's like, "I'm claiming Harrenhal," he was like, "Yes, it seems that way." And he goes down on his knees and, "Harrenhal is yours. I declare for Queen Rhaenyra, blah, blah, blah." That whole conversation between him and Simon Strong was so funny, because Daemon is sitting there trying to be so serious, and Simon Strong is just like, "Hey, we got some venison for dinner. Here you go." Daemon's like, "I'm not going to eat it because I don't want to be poisoned by peas." He was like, "Well, I will admit my chefs aren't the best cooks, but poison? Nah, I don't think so." "Yeah, they're going to do da da da." He was like, "Just in case you didn't notice, you are welcome here. Like, we're not trying to kill you. We don't want to, we're not being mean to you. Like, we're embracing you. We've fed you."
He's also very upset that Larys had his brother and nephew killed. Like,
because he was like, "Yeah, you think that was a coincidence? No, I know that he did that. So Lord Club, what did he say? Sir Clubfoot or Lord Clubfoot is no kin of mine." He was like, "No."
I like how he was like, "We can't even set a fire."
Right.
So how did they burn?
Right.
I was like, that's bad.
We can't even make them a fire stick in the summertime. And the whole castle done went up, and your brother and your father just happened to be in it.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Like, this castle has not had a fire since your ancestor destroyed it with Balerion and ended the line of Harren the Black.
And but you know what Daemon made me think of? He made me think of wife swap, and it'd be the wife that goes to the house that's just all crazy, coming from her neat house, and she like, he was looking around like, "What the hell is happening? Why am I here?"
When he was in the bedroom and the water was dripping down.
I believe Michelle was referring to the classic episode where Flavor Flav and Dee Snider of Twisted Sister trained wives.
Man, let me tell you, because I was like, how is it that the bedroom set, like the covers are clean and everything is nice, but you got water coming down and
everywhere.
You got Daemon putting pots up under the water, looking around like, what the heck? That whole sequence, and I know it wasn't supposed to be funny. When I say I was dying, like Daemon is like, gotta be here just because I had to prove a point.
Right.
Because the other thing, when they're sitting at the table and the guy is like, your prince, your grace, he was like, and all his people were looking at him like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I just assumed since you're a consort. And what was it Daemon said? Well, that just shows you why we shouldn't presume things. I was like, Daemon, you are not the king. You are not the king. Stop trying to force this man to say your grace. But every time he started to say your prince or whatever, Daemon was like,
yeah.
right?
He's gonna get somebody to call him king. He doesn't care who it is.
Was cracking up because in that first part of that whole, it was like you could see the frustration and how he felt like he was being disrespected on his face, but the dude wasn't being disrespectful. He literally was like, oh, you're here to claim Harrenhal? Okay, you can have it. He said, but might I ask why you want Harrenhal? Well, it is the biggest castle in the 7 kingdoms, in case you didn't notice. He was like, yeah, but no disrespect. It's in a bit of a state of disrepair. It was like, why do you want to be here? Like, half the castle, like, we don't have any roofs for the most part. The courtyard is out in the open. There's a lot of rain. Like, why do you want this place? Oh, because we can put 40,000 soldiers here. He was like, even if we have the money to like fix this place up, what? That dude had me rolling. I was like, okay, I like this Sir Simon Strong. I have a feeling he's probably gonna die, but
he's very pragmatic. He's like, just look around, sir. Just look around.
Right. But later on, Daemon, when he's in the bedroom, of course, trying to put pots up under the water, someone approaches his door and it's almost like they're trying to get in. And when he walks out into the hallway, he hears humming. And he walks into a room and there's a young girl sitting at a chair in front of a fireplace. And it's the younger version of Rhaenyra, which I was like, yeah, got Millie Alcock back for a quick second. But she's sitting there and it's obvious that Daemon is having a vision. And she's, what did she say? You do what you've always done, and now I have to clean up your mess. And at that moment, I know we were talking last week about whether or not Daemon felt any guilt about Jaehaerys. In that moment, you can see he clearly does, because you see the look of, I don't even know if I want to say terror on his face, the look of horror on his face and the tears in his eyes, because the younger version of Rhaenyra is sitting there with Prince Jaehaerys, and she is the one that's sitting there sewing his head back on. And I was just like, ooh. Like, if we didn't think Daemon had feelings, or if we didn't think that Daemon was upset about disappointing Rhaenyra, you see it right there in that scene. And then he drops the sword when he realizes what she's doing, and he's in the Godswood that's on Harrenhal's property. And I was like, oh, okay, what is going on here? Did you just sleepwalk, dreamwalk, whatever, to the Godswood? And there's a figure who we saw earlier in the episode, who lives at Harrenhal. She's there in the courtyard, and she just looks at him and says, you're going to die here. And she leaves off. Now, people who are familiar with the book will know who she is, but since they haven't said who she is in the show yet, I'm not going to spoil that. I'm gonna let that reveal come. But I was looking like, okay, it's about to get interesting because David is looking at her like, what the fuck? But also, he was looking at her like when she said that he was gonna die there, like he believed it. And I was just like, I don't know if Daemon Targaryen is gonna last, is gonna make it to season 3. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think by the end of this season, Daemon's gonna be gone. What you think? What y'all think?
I don't know. There a lot has to happen.
Yeah,
before
we're
he
not even
dies.
there
We're not
yet.
even there yet.
But they've been packing a lot into these episodes, so it's quite possible.
They've confirmed the season 3, right?
Yes.
He's gonna make it to season 3.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's gonna make it to season 3.
Because I kind of wonder if, and I'm gonna speak vague because again, I don't want to tell spoilers to the people who haven't read the books. I kind of figure they may end season 2 with what happens at Harrenhal, and then season 3 goes into what's happening in King's Landing, because there's a lot that happens in King's Landing as well. But because I mean, and we talked about this in the first reviewing the first episode, I don't think they need to go past the season 3. I think season 3 is already pushing it, and they can stretch some of the story out. But yeah, I don't think they need to go past season 3.
I think they're setting us up for a time jump, which is why they sent the kids away to Pentos, because when they come back, they'll be older.
Okay.
And then the dance can really start.
Okay.
They'll be older. The dragons will be older.
Right, because they took what, Tyraxes, and what was the other one?
I forgot what the other one's name is. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was Joffrey's and I think young Aegon's.
But Joffrey's going to the Vale, right?
Mm-hmm.
With his dragon. And then the other two are going to Pentos.
Going to Pentos.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so,
I hate that they're going to be separated like that, but that's probably also the best plan, because you don't want to have all 3 potential heirs in the same spot, because if something happens to Joffrey, then it goes to Aegon. So I understand it, but
Lady Aaron knows the only time the Vale was conquered was when I think it was one of his sisters went there with her dragon.
Okay.
That was the only time the Vale was taken. And that's why she wants the dragon there, because she knows that's the only way that they'll take the Vale. So I think they're setting us up for a time jump, possibly between 2 and 3, which is why I think all the really good battles shouldn't really happen until season 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they've got to do at least one good one in season 2. Because I think if they
episode we're on 3?
We're on episode 3.
We're only on episode 3.
We're only on episode.
How many episodes in this? How many episodes?
I do believe it is.
Is it 8?
Maybe 10. I don't know.
We can't drag this.
Yeah,
Daemon
but they
have to go.
They're gonna have to give us a big battle in season 2, because other than that, you'll probably lose some viewers, because I know a lot of people were talking.
So they're gonna
about
make some stuff up. Yeah, so they're gonna make something up.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but that's fine.
Not the story.
Yeah,
the story
and that's
gives
fine.
them room to do that. But like, there are a lot of people this weekend who I saw, they were actually quite bored with this episode. They were like, nothing exciting happened, and I'm like, they gotta give us some exposition, because we haven't really had it.
It was something exciting that happened.
What?
Rhaenyra and Alicent in the room together, and we figured, this show.
I think that's.
But we have to.
I think that's exciting, but I think people are looking for like physical, like battle. I got
you, and I'm going to, and I get some haters for this. then you really wasn't a fan of the first one.
Because there's a lot of exposition.
It is, because it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about battles all the time.
Right.
Now, when we did get battles and stuff happened, it was a great payoff. However, this is a political issue here.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be dragons.
Figure out how to get there. We got to get to the battle.
Yeah, it's not going to always have a battle with dragons or dragons burning something, but this was good. I mean, we got to get away from...
Nobody got murdered.
Right, but we have some great, scenes. And I think we got to get away from... We're starting to be where it got to be like TikTok, where stuff is just quick. Because I watched a show on YouTube about top 80s miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at the list, if we watched it now, people be like, this is horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I bet.
But we watched it for when it was 3 days, when it was a 3-day,
4 days, 5 days.
It was great. And things didn't happen. I mean, it drew out everything. But now, if people watched it who are not our age, who used to watch it back then, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so bad.
Oh, if they watched North and South thinking they were gonna get like Civil War battles,
oh no,
they would have checked out.
Look, and I'm showing how old I am. Shogun, yeah, baby, but when Lace 2 came
that
out,
was one of them.
Exactly.
That was one of them on there. Lace was one of them.
Yep, Thornbirds, I'll take Manhattan. Oh,
right.
All of those.
I mean, it would take, be on for hours.
Yes.
It was so good.
Yes. And
this is quality.
Yes.
Quality.
The part where and I'll take Manhattan when he gets cold and she gives him the medicine and they wind up falling in love, that took at least 2 nights to happen. You know? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but the exposition is important.
It is.
Storytelling is important because
this is a political drama.
Right.
It's a political drama with dragons.
But we gotta see how they get there because again, unreliable narrative is what the book is. You're getting the story told from 3 different viewpoints from the people who weren't really there. So for them to give us the story to see all the moving parts, like I would not have expected Alicent and Rhaenyra to have a scene together.
Yeah, it was great.
Like Rhaenyra was like, I have to figure out a way to appeal to Alicent. And this is after she finally read the letter that Alicent sent after Luke's death. She was like, okay. And even Rhaenys told her at the beginning, she said the way to peace is going to be Alicent Hightower. And that's when Rhaenyra was like, she allowed all this to happen. Oh, just like you allowed that child to be killed in his bed. Oh, okay. You know what? You got a point. She didn't say it right then, but that struck her because that was the one thing that pissed her off about it was that someone else put that plan in motion. But of course, because she is the queen, she has to take the blame for it. So in that same sense, you gonna blame Alicent for what her sons are doing? Mm-hmm. No, you can't do that.
And this is
the person that wants peace. You got to figure out a way to get it. And unfortunately, that conversation just didn't go the way that we expected.
Right, but it was a battle of words. It was a battle of words now.
And it wasn't even a battle. Like, these are 2 people
No, that was a battle.
Loved each other. So
yep.
I don't look at it as a battle. It was just kind of like,
I mean, it was what I'm trying to say. If you wanted a battle, that was a good battle. It was going back and forth. I'm just saying it's not a physical battle on the field. If we listen to conversations, we had little battles going back and forth with all the characters. Okay. Rhaenys and Corlys, that was a battle of going back and forth. Who won that round? I'm not quite sure. He walked away and she was feeling like...
I wouldn't call it a battle of words because you immediately think it being combative. And I don't think...
No, I'm not going there that it's combative, but I'm just saying if we want to pull out some drama here, different characters had battle of words. Okay, it could have been a small little battle. It wasn't like the Smithfields, Blackfields, whoever they were in the beginning. I forgot already.
Blackwoods,
right?
Brackens.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
But it was a little back and forth.
That set the tone
a little back and forth.
Different little conflicts.
Yeah,
Like
so we'll
each
say,
thing was a
and I'm just
conflict.
using battle for that,
Yeah.
but yeah, because we have that.
Mhm.
And we didn't know how that scene was going to go with Rhaenyra and Alicent, even though Rhaenyra was reminding me of shame,
Yes.
shame, shame. I was like, I'm feeling it, feeling the costume design. However, yeah, we got to take those, because if we just sat down and watched them at the council all day long, yeah, I can see that being a boring episode. But we got people interacting,
see what works with this,
figuring out that you made the biggest, like, you caused this whole entire mess.
Yep.
And then you figuring out that I am trying to be safe in how I proceed with the war, but now it's going to be a war, so I might as well go with what these people are telling me to do, because either way, people gonna die.
Yeah, because
I
at
tried.
this point, there's no
turning
way
back
around it.
No. So seeing those things happen,
yeah, I enjoyed it. I didn't
too.
have a problem with it. I was like, oh, wow, nobody got murdered today. That's great. We don't have to see it. But, I mean, we've already said at some point during the course of this show, those of us who are on Team Black, we're not even going to be on Team Black, because that's just how bad and how bloody and how inhumane this war is going to get. Because, like I said, there are things that I know that happen to certain characters. If they do it in this show, it's going to be like, you're going to sit there with your hands on your head, like, holy fuck, how did we get to this point? And that's what they're showing us. They're telling us how we got from here to here. And it's just, it's going to be brutal. So I kind of liked the way this episode, and like you said, putting it in those words, conflicts. Yeah, that's fun, because again, one of my favorite parts of this episode was when Alicent's brother met Criston Cole, because when Criston Cole first walked out and saw them together, he was feeling jealous. And then also, let's talk about the back and forth between Alicent and Criston Cole, because
thank you. That's what this is all what this episode was.
On the one hand, you would feel like these two characters really don't like each other. On the other hand, y'all are fighting way too much for people to not know something is going on between y'all. Like, there is way too much friction. This has been your trusted confidant since you saved him the night of Rhaenyra's wedding. And now all of a sudden y'all are trading barbs. You're like belittling him in front of the small council in a way you never would have done with your father. Yeah, they're reading the room. They know. Like,
and he needs to read the room, because she's not feeling him.
I don't even, you know what? I don't know if I want to say,
okay,
she's not feeling him.
She's not feeling him.
I think she is putting up a front, and I think she's pissed about the fact that her father is not there. But I bet you if he comes back from where he is now, we're gonna see a little bit more of that scene from the last scene of the last episode. We're gonna see a little bit more of that. Like,
now, I'm not saying they breaking up. I'm just saying she ain't feeling him at this moment. She wasn't. You saw how she handed him the handkerchief? It wasn't. It was basically because you asked me for this. Because right now, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. That's why we had hot mad sex the last episode.
I don't know. I read that a little bit different.
Oh, did you read it that she was in caring when she gave him the?
I read it like
the handkerchief.
She was being a little bit facetious with it. Like, she's acting like she's mad at him, but at the same time,
no, I think like, she was. I think she's just having a lover's right now. A lover's quarrel here. Because even he's coming up like, but I bet you give me your handkerchief. Take it.
But yeah, I'm not.
That's how I was feeling. She was. I didn't say they were breaking up. However, she was just feeling like, whatever, here.
I wonder if she thought about what happened when she told Larys that she wishes her father was hand again. And then he went and killed his father and brother. I wonder if she thought this, I don't know. Is it one of those things where, man, I did this to get my father back into position, and now he's gone, and there isn't anything she can really do about it now? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Like maybe she just was feeling some type of way about him having her father's position.
Yeah.
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 It was just making her feel some type of way.
Right, because now she's all alone. She really is.
This is true because I mean, like literally, your brother showed up and then he immediately rides out with Criston Cole. Criston Cole is gone. Otto is gone.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You're there with your children that you can't control. And I mean, that whole conversation with her and Helena was a little bit on the weird side, which I get because Helena is like, she was like, I feel really sad for Jaehaerys, but I feel like I shouldn't because people die all the time, especially babes. And she was putting herself in the mindset of the small folk. She was like, I'm pretty sure all those people were feeling like I don't have any right to grieve any more than they do. She was like, I'm sure they lose the commoners, they lose children more than highborn women all the time. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I was like, I understand where she's coming from, but it's so weird. And then when she says that whole thing to I forgive you, and Alicent was like, what? Like, what? Huh? She sounded so confused. And when she turned around, she was like, I forgive you. And then I was like, oh, wait, there's something else going on that she's seeing. Like, that conversation maybe didn't make as much sense right then, but it probably the next episode or the episode after that, something's going to happen that kind of refers back to that conversation. But yeah, I mean, Alicent is alone. She has no allies around her. She has no one around her that she can trust. Yeah. I don't know how this, I don't know how that's going to work because now you have Aemon and Aegon there in the house. Aemon is already triggered because Aegon is being an ass. And not only is he being an ass, he's got his peanut gallery with him at all times now. So
now he did kind of put them in check a little bit. They went a little bit too far, and he gave them that look.
They didn't read the room now. I mean, his son just literally like died.
I don't even think it was just because of that. I think they really thought that because he put them in those positions, and they're his friends, that they were going to be able to do the things that the other Kingsguard can't do. Like when they were talking about going out, to the brothel.
Yeah, but they did.
He was like,
did. They
did, but they were going for the squire.
But they were joking like they normally joke. That's what I'm saying. When they did that, they assumed that he would be joking like he was the night that, his son died. But it's been a day. Like, I know, just give him a second. Like, give him some wine and then throw the joke in.
Yeah, but I don't even think it was that. I really feel like in his mind, he's like, okay, yes, I put my friends in these positions, but they were taking it as a joke. He was like, but you're supposed to be celibate now. And they were like, yeah, right. And he was just looking at them like, no, I'm serious. You're Kingsguard now. You're supposed to be celibate. And that's why they were like, yes, your grace. Because they were like, oh shit, he really expects us to follow the rules of these positions.
Yeah, and then he takes them. Takes them to the brothel and pays for it. So that's a good boss for you, right?
No, but it wasn't them. He was paying for the squire. That's different. The squire is
I understand, but we all went.
Yeah,
we all was involved.
Oh, they can go. I mean, we've seen Kingsguard in the brothels before. They just can't have the services.
Yeah, but I don't think he's gonna tell them no there. He's been drinking. He's good.
Yeah, but like Hanako said, they were probably like, yeah, we'll do it. He was like, yeah, I make y'all put y'all in these positions, but in his mind, once you get the position, he kind of expects you to do your job.
Right.
And I don't think they were expecting that he would expect them to do the job.
Yeah.
And take it seriously.
And then a couple hours later,
we saw them at the beginning of the episode.
Okay. Okay.
He's
Wait,
all over the place
what did you say,
anyway.
Michelle?
I said, but in a couple hours, like
Yeah, but
you were not, he not being consistent.
if you're his friend, you know that he's all over the
That
place.
is true. I'm just saying he not being consistent, and that they need to like tread lightly with him being inconsistent.
But
Because
again,
he
like
is
I
different.
said,
That's what I'm trying to get to the point of. He is different from his son died. You can see it. Like his jovial self is not the same.
I'm gonna go
I
back
understand about he talking about the job, but he is different.
I'm gonna go back to what you said.
But he's in balance.
You gotta put a little wine in him first.
Yeah, and that
that
did it.
that changes.
That did change.
him.
gotta look at him
Some
up
convincing.
some.
Yeah.
Right.
Some convincing.
So he can come into the tavern and buy rounds for everybody, and then take the little squire to go see the best whore in the place, and then all that stuff that happens. But yeah, I think his friends are gonna learn that. Yeah, they're part
You
of
gotta be careful.
they're part of the cog now, so they're part of that wheel.
Yeah,
So they're
they
gonna
have to be careful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's like, okay, I put y'all here for whatever reason, because he trusts them, because I, I don't know. But yeah, they can't just be all free like they were. It's just, yeah. But do we have anything else to discuss from this episode?
I think we covered everything.
We hit the wheel of characters.
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that I know we didn't get it in this episode. We might get it. I would like to see it next episode. I would like for him to take a moment other than glaring at his sister/wife and talk about the child that they lost or something. I mean,
that's probably not going to happen.
No,
because it's hard enough for us to do that in modern times, because a lot of people still have a stigma about that thing. Back then, that's not something you don't. He's the king. He's not going to talk about that with her. He may go find, like, kind of like Aemon, he may go find a trusted whore that he frequents, if there is such a thing for him. Or he may find, maybe one of the guys, he may find that confidant, or even Criston Cole, if Criston Cole makes it back. But him and Helena, I don't see that happening, because I feel like for both of them, they're only in that marriage because that's what's expected of them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I feel like he may have a little bit of guilt about it, because she said something earlier to him that day about being scared of the rats. Right. And he kind of dismissed it, because he didn't think she was speaking sensical. Mm-hmm. You got a little bit of that guilt. And then not only that, she had to be the one to be put in the position, right, to choose the child, or all three of them would get killed. The fact that she was there witnessing it, even though she may not have seen Jaehaerys get decapitated. Again, everybody is talking about those sound effects. If she didn't see it, she heard it. Right. And that is something that I don't think that's a conversation he wants to have. So yeah, I don't see that happening with them. Okay. Okay. So let's run it down. Daemon has control of Harrenhal for the moment, but there's this weird figure who's told him he's going to die there. You've got Aegon deciding to stay back while Criston Cole and Sir Gawain head towards Harrenhal to get the houses in order to gather their army. Rhaenyra has sent her children off. Alicent just realized she made the biggest blunder probably in the history of the world. And it looks like we're going to war. Like, for real, for real. And on that note, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media, on all the social media at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.